We've heard a lot about cases of eating disorders spiking during the pandemic. The stress and uncertainty surrounding COVID caused our next guest to actually relapse from her eating disorder. Now, Chloë Grande is helping others through her blog, and she joins us this morning. Nice to see you.
You as well. Thank you for having me, Annette.
So you come at this from a different angle because you have a communications degree. And you also have a recovering, shall I call you a recovering eating disorder patient?
Yes, exactly.
And with your blog, you're trying to kind of bridge the gap.
Exactly. I realized that when I relapsed at the beginning of COVID, that I probably wasn't the only one, and that I'm sure there were many other Canadians or people around the world in the similar situation. And so when I started writing about it, it was part to be accountable to my own recovery, and also just to educate other people who may not know about eating disorders.
And a big part of the spike has been that maybe what you eat is the only thing that you can control during the pandemic, especially at the height of the lockdowns.
That's right. For a lot of people, food is a coping mechanism. And what I've learned through my own recovery is that there are healthier mechanisms that we can use to cope that won't slowly kill us and take away our joy.
You benefit, you give a lot of praise to McMaster Children's Hospital. They really helped you recover the first time.
Absolutely. That's where I first got treatment. And it's amazing because I see my psychiatrist, Dr. Couturier, on the news all the time talking about eating disorders. And I still think about her, and I still think about that treatment. In fact, I still have the worksheets that I look back to at times to remind myself of all the important lessons they taught me as a teenager.
Mm-hmm. And through your blog, you're teaching people who maybe have a loved one or a friend who either has an eating disorder or they think might have an eating disorder. You've got all kinds of tips on there about how to approach people, things not to say.
Yes, a big one for me is, if you're concerned about them, not to address it in the food angle and not to make comments about their body, because it is a mental illness, and you want to talk more about their mood, what you're noticing, changes in their personality. They're going to take that a lot better, because comments about your body can actually trigger the eating disorder even more and cause more pain.
I found one of the blog entries really interesting, and it was about how in some ways the pandemic or lockdowns is a good thing, because it means that people, if you work and you have an eating disorder, everybody in the lunchroom isn't scrutinizing what you're doing.
Yes, I've got a lot of great feedback around that. So many people have resonated with that. And for me too, it means I can stick to a schedule about eating at the same time. Sometimes at work, you get caught up and you may not have a time to leave your desk, or there's a work culture of sitting at your desk through lunch. So I've been able to have much healthier eating habits. One of the few positive things with this pandemic.
Yeah, very few positive things. So what do you hope ultimately that this blog site does?
I want people to feel less alone, because when I was at my sickest, I thought I was the only one going through this, and it was absolutely terrifying. If there had been someone blogging and writing about what they're going through at the time that I could have read, I think it would have really affected me in a positive light. So my only hope is that people can learn, other people can recognize warning signs, and that hopefully we can catch these illnesses earlier on before they cause so much damage to people's lives.
Okay, your blog is at chloegrande.com, and we'll have a link to it up at chch.com. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us today.
Thanks, Annette.